All the heated seats are on. The steering wheel, the heat is on. So yeah, today is Wednesday, December 11th. Heading to work in my Durango because I still have not installed the cleaned up filter in the compass. With those 5 bolts, it would take like 5-10 minutes. I don't have time in the morning because I set up my alarm for like 6 o'clock, and 6:15, 6:20 I have to be on the road because my shift starts at 6:45. So I did some Ubering yesterday after work in the Durango, and surprisingly I saw the advantage, you know, despite the it burns 50% more fuel, like 15 liters versus 10, but it qualifies as Uber XL, you know. And so yesterday, the first I went after work, I went to a nearby Starbucks and I cheated the system. I mentioned this hack before, Starbucks hack. So when I was leaving work, I grabbed the same mug, and we have a coffee machine there, and there's you can get hot boiled water, right? So I filled up the mug with hot boiled water, and then I went to the Starbucks, and instead of, because I was feeling a bit tired, so I wanted to get some coffee, and what the heck was that? And so normally I would get, let's say, tall Americano, which here costs $4.15 for a tiny cup, But I already had hot water, and what is Americano? It's 2 espresso shots in a tall Americano with hot water. So I said, give me double espresso, please. And they said I think it was $3.50. So $3.50. All I took was I poured those 2 espresso shots in my mug with hot water, threw out the cup, and I saved 65 cents. I felt so proud of myself, And then I was sitting there waiting, and it was super slow, nothing on Lyft, nothing on Uber. I even started DoorDash, where my acceptance rate keeps plummeting because they keep giving me like something really bad, So anyway, I get an order from Uber, so I turn off Lyft, I turn off DoorDash, and it's some kind of a strange name, something like Kirish or Kirnish, and it's 3 kilometers away. I was not too excited about driving 3 kilometers, but there was nothing better. Like I said, it was slow, so I go there and I see there's a bunch of people standing in it's a corporate building, and the guy is looking at the phone. So he's looking at me, he's looking at the phone. I said, are you that name? He says, yeah. And I said, how many people we have? He says, 6. Holy moly. So I had to, my seats in the back were folded for more cargo space, so I opened the second row for them to get in, and I lifted the rear 2 seats. So yeah, I felt like a minibus. And so from that location near Country Hills Boulevard and Highway 2, we went all the way downtown to a fancy hotel near Center Street. And then I look at when I dropped them off, I look at how much they paid me, and it says 30 bucks for 22 kilometers. which is a bit unusual because the regular Uber X, it's like $1 per kilometer. Like it would be $22, you know. So I thought, hey, maybe they give me a tip. I scroll through, and because it would show a tip. No tip. And then I noticed at the top of that little record it says Uber XL. And so I got a few rides in downtown because they were just short, you know, $4.50 for 2 kilometers. And then I got one order. A lady was waiting for me at another hotel downtown, and she had some big, kind of like a package. Then later I found out it was like a folding table. I guess maybe she was doing massage or something. So it was a folding table inside a fancy leather, you know, case, and it was pretty big. And so I dropped my 2 rear seats. So this thing has so much cargo space, you know, where those 2 rear seats are down. And we put that monster table inside, and I drove her 3 kilometers, dropped her off, and I checked the earnings. It says $8, which again is unusual because normally for something like 3 kilometers all you get is like $4.50, you know, $4.50, $5. Tip? No. But again, it says Uber XL, you know. So these 2 trips were Uber XL, and so I made some extra money, which covered the difference in fuel consumption, but also gave me a little bit of a profit compared to the Compass, you know. So XL is definitely worth it because $30 for 20 kilometers, that's more like it, you know. It should be $50, of course, but you know, I'll take 30 instead of 20 for Uber X. So anyway, today we started at -5, well actually -3, but they said it's gonna go up to +2 in the afternoon. So I'm getting ready for my Friday. I'm doing that photography shoot at a Christmas party, and then Sunday our company has our own Christmas party. We're all going to a restaurant for some, you know, free entertainment, and I'm not acting as a photographer, just as a happy employee. Now in other news, the bank called me yesterday, the bank where I got the mortgage for this apartment, and they're like, is this Sergei Drachev? I said, yes. What did I win? They said, they didn't understand my sense of humor, so basically I didn't win anything, but they were complaining about the second loan that I took against the apartment. Like, it's not allowed. Like, wait, what? What are you talking about, not allowed? I said, I went to you, if you remember, I went to the same bank where I have my main mortgage. I went to get the, you know, that loan because I needed to fix my car, right? But I said, you refused, so I had to find an equity lender. And she says, well, it's in the conditions of the mortgage, you know, somewhere on page 934 at the bottom, fine print, which, you know, I did not read. I said, well, I'm sorry, I was not aware that you don't allow this. So I said, what happens now? And she says, well, technically that second loan would have to be paid off, but we're not gonna kind of like rush you, you know. So I said, and she said, normally we would send a registered letter, you know, kind of like notification that you did something they did not like. But she says the Canada Post is on strike. And so, thank you, Canada Post, by the way. So Canada Post is on strike, and she says now that's why we're calling. I said, okay. So basically a slap on the wrist, but I had no idea that I was not supposed to do this. Like, it's my apartment, I own it, and I cannot do equity loan for my own apartment. Man, they're just nuts. Well, my first run of the day in the Freightliner, I have a 19-foot scissor lift, and 19 foot means it can go up to 19 feet. So the smallest one we have, but it's the lightest, easiest to carry. And there's a container truck in front over there. I was following it, you know, at the regular distance. The guy brakes like it's an emergency, which means that he's following somebody too closely, or he's falling asleep, or he's on the phone, and then he has to apply his brakes really aggressively. I hate driving behind people like that, so I created a huge distance. And the trick in a traffic jam, what I always try to achieve is figure out the average speed of the traffic, you know, and you just drive at the same speed. So let's say here I'm guessing 30 kilometers an hour, and that's it. I don't care if it's a football field in front of me, I drive 30 kilometers an hour, because they speed up, then they hit the brakes, they speed up, they hit the brakes. But if you keep the same steady speed, you save yourself a bunch of stress, and also people behind you, it's much easier for them to follow you, because you don't apply your brakes like an idiot in the container truck, because that's how accidents happen. And my delivery is to a deli shop in central Calgary. It's too bad that it's so early, you know. Like yesterday I was delivering to my favorite European deli. It's where you can buy a real Russian food, you know, like Russian bread. And I was delivering the machine, a scissor lift, to that store, but it was only 8 o'clock in the morning. And I see they have lights on, but I checked the front door for the hours and it says 9. I cannot sit there for an hour, but they have some amazing Russian smoked fish, which you don't see in Canada, and the Russian bread. So that's, I was craving that black, you know, duck rye Russian bread with some smoked fish. So anyway, yeah, on my way now to 9 Ave, I texted the guy, said I'm coming. I don't know if anybody's gonna be on site there, but once I'm there, I'll have to call him to find out exactly where he wants the machine, because sometimes there's a specific, you know, preference, like in the back or on the dock. Or actually, yeah, I think my paperwork says on the dock. So it must be not a very small store if they have their own dock. But that makes things easier for me, so I don't have to drop the bed. I just back to a dock, and then I drop my support legs in the back down, and I can move the bed just enough to reach the dock, and I can match the height. So these trucks are great for delivering small equipment. Yeah, see? So I was driving conservatively, and now I caught up with all these guys, even though there was a huge space ahead of me. So the average speed of traffic, very important to match. See, then I don't have to stress out. Like, the guy is half a kilometer away, so if I see his brake lights come on, I'll just take my foot off the accelerator. Sometimes I would even, you know, when I was in my big semi-truck with a heavy load, sometimes I would even drive with the cruise control, you know, like in a situation like this. I think there's a certain speed, minimum speed, that you can turn your cruise control on, but let's say, you know, 50 or 50 clicks an hour, 30 miles an hour, and you're just cruising along, mind your own business. But driving like this takes a lot of experience, you know. Like if you're a rookie driver, you'd be following at the arm's length the vehicle in front of you and hit your brakes whenever they hit their brakes, and cursing and being frustrated. But so it means that I went through a bunch of traffic jams, you know, in my life as a trucker. So I've seen it all, and this is the best way. Keep it slow. Keep it slow. Oh yeah, that's the rule I mentioned before. They taught us when I joined after trucking school, when I got my AZ or Class 1, and they were training us for 2 weeks at Challenger Motor Freight in Cambridge, Ontario. And I think the first lesson was a rule 747. And we were like, what the heck is rule 747? And the guy said, well, the main rule is keep the distance between yourself and the vehicle in the front large enough for a Boeing 747 to land. And that rule served me very well when I was trucking. And the beautiful downtown is to my right. See, now I can increase the speed because everybody's speeding up. And they didn't give me any pickups, so I'm just doing one delivery because it's so close. And then I'm just heading empty back. And there's I think they're gonna be, my next run is gonna be like 3 deliveries and 1 pickup. Maybe 2 deliveries, because normally on this truck I can only fit 2 scissor lifts, not 3. Sometimes we did 3, like 2 small ones, 1 big one. Then you have to park them like this next to each other. But it's a bit tricky. You have to watch the overall weight, because this truck can, the payload, the maximum payload for this truck, because of the single axle in the back, is 13,500 pounds only. 13.5, that's it. I forgot to erase that support, but what's good is whenever I do this at the dock, I always drop the suspension, and so I drop the suspension and then I put down those support legs, and so when I finished, at least I erased my suspension, and so those support legs were like this above the ground, you know, and I started driving. Nobody's honking at me, nobody knows what's going on. But oh, a guy with an RGN trailer. You know, one thing I noticed here about these local heavy haulers is that they're very scared of heavy weights. Each time I see like they're moving a regular, I don't know, Cat 336, they have like 20 axles, you know, like seriously. Because of course here you cannot have a pusher on the truck. So they all have Jeeps and, you know, the boosters just to move 80,000 pounds. Like in winter, it's supposed to be like, I remember I had the little table in Alberta. In winter, the allowable weights or higher under the permit, right? They only reduce them when in the spring. So when the ground is frozen, it should be okay. And yet I consistently see people use much more axles than I saw in Ontario. Like, for example, they would have a rock truck, you know, I don't know, 75,000 pounds, and the guy would have a tandem Jeep and like 5 axles in the back and and the escort pilot, you know. What happened to bootlegging? You know, just drive at night. Come on. What is this, your first day? All right, which way are we going? Of course, Waze has no clue. 112 Avenue. See, like, that's the issue with this. Where do you want me to go? Towards Barlow Trail. So 106 Avenue is that one. Okay, so it thinks I'm going south. Whereas, oh, maybe I should go south. All right. Yeah, I dropped a big scissor lift here. Let's see if it'll figure out which way I'm going. Okay. Yeah, this is 110. Okay.
In 400 meters, turn left on 112 Avenue Southeast.
Yeah, I dropped off a big scissor lift, like a 32 footer at this place a few days ago. I think last week, maybe Friday or something, or Monday. Today's Wednesday. And the guy complained that the machine doesn't want to go up. Like, it goes up a couple of feet and then it stops. Oh, you guys remember this? I did this BS as well. Oh, damaged coil. Uh-huh. Somebody's in trouble. Yeah, these coils, man, that's so much work, right? You have to tarp them, you know. But I think these ones, the one the guy had, they're not clean steel. Like, I remember these. They have that cover on them, so this is like kind of like a low quality steel. And so I think, if I'm not mistaken, it did not require tarping. And so yeah, I brought the machine, and the guy complained it doesn't work properly. Like, it drives, but it doesn't want to go up past a certain point. And so I brought him a replacement, and he says, "You're picking up the other one, right?" I said, "Yeah, I think so. Is it drivable?" He says, "Yeah, it drives fine, it just doesn't want to go up." Okay. So I gave him this, and he says, and he tested it, and he says, "How come each time I try to go up, it goes into that crawl mode?" Like, there's a picture of a rabbit, like a slow mode. I said, "I don't know." Like I said, please call the shop, because I'm not a mechanic. My job is just to deliver them. And he said, "I did call them, but they were not able to help me." So he means nobody knows why the thing would go into crawl mode.
Use the left 2 lanes to turn left.
I said, maybe it's a safety feature. I don't know. Oh, Flying J. Yeah, normally I always stop here for coffee, but I already had my own coffee from home, which saves me $5 every morning, since now I don't stop at Starbucks. So $5 for a grande americano, $4.15 for a tall americano, which is small. Whereas here you get like a 20-ounce mug, and I think it's like $2, and it's beans to cup. I remember, yeah, Flying J, they were always advertising the best coffee on the interstate. Of course, we're in Canada, there's no interstates here, but oh, check this out. You see, that's the truck I have, except this one has a tandem. You know, that's honestly what I'm missing, because this one is just a little bit too light for my taste. I'd like to have something like this. Same idea, tilt and load, or roll back as they call them south of the border, but it has 2 axles, so this thing can take much more weight. Probably, so 1 axle is probably what, like 20,000 pounds minus 3 for the weight, so 17. So yeah, if I can take 13.5, this guy can probably take 30,000 pounds, you know. The problem is that our company, the heaviest machine we have, it's all connected. Like the way they spec'd all these trucks, they're designed to hold the heaviest machine we have. So we don't have heavy stuff for that kind of truck.
Use the right lane to exit Route 2 Highway 2.
Forsage. You know what it means in Russian? Forsage? Afterburner on a jet fighter plane. Forsage, there's like a level like this. I sat inside the cockpit. My dad took me to the airfield one weekend when I was like, I don't know, 15, 16. And they allowed me to sit inside the cockpit of a MiG-21, like the real one, fighter jet, which was on duty.
Continue straight for 13 minutes to exit 260.
Like, normally they would have 2, no, I think they had 4. They would have 4 planes standing by in case something happens and they need to go up in the air. And everybody was bringing relatives and friends, and they were taking selfies inside the cockpit. And I still remember my dad says, "Don't touch the red button." No, he said, "Don't touch anything," because it was a real plane with missiles and stuff like that. But it's so cramped inside, I still remember, and there's buttons everywhere, like switches, you know, like here, right? All I have is like, I don't know, 2.5 switches, couple of buttons here. But in an airplane, jet fighter plane, there's switches here, there's switches here, there's switches on the ceiling, there's everything in between. Like, I don't know, there's like 200 switches and rocker switches and little flip switches. It was crazy. You know, no wonder you need to go to like a freaking university to learn how to fly one. Anyway, which way are we going? I think we're going north. Oh yeah, so the pickup is right south of the airport. So now, thanks to this job, I now know Calgary pretty well, which helps me in return with my Uber. And Uber and Lyft help me with this job because I further improve the knowledge of the city. Yeah, this lane exits over here. It's a bit tricky. What is this? I forgot the name of this. I think it's like Bow Trail. So yeah, I'm an expert on Calgary now, but I occasionally I forget the names of exits. No, but seriously, yeah, I feel pretty comfortable, you know, driving. Like normally before, if you saw my old trucking videos, I was never fond of driving at night. Well, one of the reasons being that it's dangerous. Like, you know, you're not in the city, but let's say you're driving somewhere, like some guys would like, they like driving after dark because there's less traffic. But then I know one guy, he got hit, or actually he hit a deer like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times, you know. That's the danger of driving at night, like outside of a city, you know, on a lonely dark road, that there's animals. They just come out to take a look, that, you know, probably they have a bet going what kind of truck it is that's approaching, you know. What do you think? Is it a Freightliner or a Volvo? Okay, $10 says it's a Volvo. Boom. Yeah, this guy was hit pretty bad, you know, like the truck looked awful, but they fixed it. But now, you know, when I do Uber and I feel okay, I don't know. Of course, in the city, it's all, everything is lit up. You know, you don't drive in the dark. So yesterday I ended up making what, like $50 in 2 hours, which was my original goal. So now I have to, today Wednesday should be slightly better, but I'll have to clean up all my mats because I had that XL 6 people ride. And I have never checked yet in the back there, the last row, what kind of mats I have there. I don't even know. I think that I still have basic fabric mats, because when I ordered these fancy new ones, Mopar, they only give you 4 mats. They don't give you anything for the 3rd row. And so today I'm gonna solve the mystery and open up access to the 3rd row in my Durango and see what kind of mats they have. And if they're regular basic like square mats, I'll just go to Canadian Tire and try to find, take one of them with me and try to find a replacement that matches the size, you know, like something all-weather mats. So yeah, the weather's today not bad, but look at the sky. The sky looks a bit ugly, kind of like it's gonna snow or something. So yeah, I have one scissor lift on the deck, so now I'm picking up a similar one that comes off rent, and I'm bringing both back to our yard. And then guys in the shop will check them out, wash them, recharge the battery, test them to make sure they go up and down properly and they drive. Check the pressure in the tires. Just kidding. But you know, make sure they're ready to rent. And then when they check them, they put like a green tag on the back saying basically it's ready to rent, ready to be rented. And then there's a employee number who checked it, date, and how many hours it has on the clock, and the unit number. And I'm passing Road King Travel Center. That's another truck stop where I spent quite a few nights when I was visiting Calgary as a trucker. What the deal with this guy is. On the back it says a story truck, so it's a panel van Sprinter and it's a story truck. Oh, it's a Calgary Public Library vehicle. Okay. Calgary Public Library. I remember when I was a student at the university, man, I spent so much time in libraries. It was one of my favorite places. You go there, you get a bunch of books, and you just read them, you know. Current speed is 100 kilometers an hour, or 62.15 miles per hour. We are flying, so that's why I'm holding the steering wheel with both hands. This dreaded construction zone starts. Speed limit is 80 clicks an hour, and there's no construction anymore. Everybody left. Like before, when it was warm, there were guys working here, there was machinery. Now all that's left is just a speed limit sign and some cones, some safety cones, but there's no people. So that's how it was last winter. But then they all came back, I think, when it became warm, like in March or April. Like I see here, that's what they were building. They were building this additional lanes, but they have not finished. I guess the construction just ran out of steam. That was the plan. Those are the exit and entrance lanes to make traffic less cramped over here, because this is a very busy area around 16th Ave and especially 11th Street. Well, there's some guys moving blocks here. Maybe they're getting ready to reopen, I don't know, but that's just one truck, two guys. See, here it's not finished. This is supposed to be a paved lane to my left. Check out this guy. Probably 110 kilometers an hour in a construction zone. So even though there's hardly any people, you can still get a big ticket. That's why usually when I go through construction, I'm always staying away from the left lane, because that's where cops will look first. Okay, I need McKnight Boulevard. It's coming up in 2.4 clicks. So this is 32nd Ave, and McKnight is next, I believe. this side, they're still working. You see, I don't know what,
Then stay to the right to McKnight Boulevard.
they're just doing some massive landscaping over here.
Stay to the right to McKnight Boulevard East. In 2.4 kilometers. Stay to the right to Barlow Trail Northeast.
So yeah, now we're just south of the airport. Airport is that way. That's north. I'm going east, and that's south. There's a cop behind me to my left. Yeah, good thing I'm not speeding. And why do police vehicles always seem so huge? You know, it's like it's a regular Ford Explorer, but because of all these bright colors, you know, it looks like it's it's like a tank. You know, scary. But I know where this guy is going, because on McKnight, that's where the big police compound is, like a headquarters. That's where I went to get fingerprints. By the way, speaking about fingerprints, last time they required me, you know, when I was doing this police background check for the Uber and Lyft, one step when you do the application online on their website, you have to confirm your identity, and they ask you questions from your credit file. And I made a mistake, so they couldn't confirm my identity, so they said you have to come and do fingerprints because of this. And then I had to wait like, what, 3 weeks for the appointment to do the fingerprints. But now this time I remembered the questions and answers, so when I submitted the application online, I was able to successfully confirm my identity, and so they didn't say anything about fingerprints, since they already have my fingerprints on file from the summer of 24. But I did that application on Sunday, December 1st.
300 meters. Use the right lane to stay to the right.
Today is Wednesday, December 11th, and I still haven't heard back from the police, because they're supposed to send me an email
Stay to the right to Barlow Trail Northeast.
when my check is complete, and then I can go online and download that, you know, like a letter.
In 500 meters. Turn left on 39.
And then I have to go to VHL office, Vehicle for Hire Licensing, and bring back that document, plus my driver's license, plus my proof of insurance. And they told me that if I don't do that,
On 39th Avenue Northeast.
if I don't stop by VHL office within 30 days of the date when my TNTL expires, they're gonna consider it abandoned and they're gonna cancel it. And I sent a message. I said, because actually they reply to emails, this VHL people. I said, do I have to book an appointment? They said, no, just come between 8 and 4 Monday through Friday and bring, you know, your background check, your insurance, and your driver's license, and that's how your TNDL, your license for Uber, will be renewed. And I replied to them, I said, I'm sorry, but I'm still waiting for the background check. I mean, it's taking forever. So it's not my fault.
Turn left on 26th
Like,
Street Northeast.
I applied as soon as these VHL guys send me an email. They send me an email warning me that my TNDL will expire, right? So I have to do a background check. So as soon as I saw that email on Saturday, next day, Sunday, I did the application for the background check. So I'm being a good boy here, but
Turn left on
I'm guessing
26th Street Northeast.
the police station is too busy, so it takes, you know, there's a bunch of people ahead of me that need this background check. And they charged me, I think it was like,
200 meters. Turn right on Hopewell Place Northeast.
it was I think I paid online 75 bucks. And I keep checking, I go there, I keep checking, it says, yeah, application submitted. But no result. Basically still waiting, still in the queue, processing queue.
Turn right on Hopewell Place Northeast.
Hopewell Place Northeast. That's an interesting name. I think it must be this one. Oh, I see our Scissor.
You've arrived.
Try to do the old trucking trick and use only one chain, you know, by pushing two machines like this and then using chains pulling towards each other, which is perfectly legal. But these ones are too big, so it didn't leave me enough space in the back there for a second chain. Check this out. That's an older Durango, probably 5-10 years old. Mine has a different grille, different headlights, and I have those air snorkels in the hood. But I like the shape, you know, like the size factor. It's a big, comfortable SUV. And I remember on mine, the gas tank, I think it's on the other side.
Turn left.
But yeah, I love that Durango. It's so much power. It's, you know, I'm still super glad I got it. So yeah, for now still only one rental, and number one was done, right? So now number two is coming last week of December. The guy's taking it for 1 week, and I still have to double check because the name of the person who booked it is different than the driver, you know, like principal driver. So I'm guessing maybe it's like a husband and wife. But once I get closer to the start of the rental contract, I'll definitely look into that to make sure that it's
Turn right onto 39 Avenue Northeast.
to make sure it's all legit, you know.
At the next light, turn right. At the light, turn right onto Marlow Trail Northeast.
Did I mention a guy offered me a job
Stay in the left lane.
for long haul? But the pay is not guaranteed, right? It's pretty much commission. Well, you know, it's like pay by the mile, right? So I'm in Alberta, where quite often
Use the left 2 lanes to turn onto McKnight Boulevard Northeast.
there's no loads. So often people would leave, go to US, grab something to bring back, because Alberta is notorious for very low rates. And so he did offer me something for empty miles as well, but I forgot. But anyway, so when I calculated, if I drive all day, let's say 500-600 miles, and then times, you know, cents per mile that he offered me, it's pretty much the same as what I'm making now at this job. But here I have benefits, you know, I'm an employee. Like over there, I think he just wanted to pay me kind of like under the table, and I would not have any benefits. And so I definitely want to keep this job, because I want to get into bigger property later on, because it's just amazing when you can sit on your butt and watch your money grow, right? So like I mentioned, that tiny baby apartment made me so far, what is it, 65 and 80, $85,000, and it's all no tax, right? When I sell it, I keep all the entire profit, because it's my principal residence. But in order to get another piece of property, I need a steady job with a steady income, because that's what banks love. Remember that Russian guy I mentioned, where he was able to buy a house even though he makes like 22 bucks an hour as Amazon delivery driver? It's just ridiculous. But that's what they like. They like when you have a steady income. They don't like people that are self-employed, you know. And so if I go work for this guy, chances are there won't be any T4, because he'll just consider me like a contractor. And so if the bank says, okay, show us proof of your income, it would all be kind of like gray area, you know. So yeah, for now I want to stay an employee just for that purpose. So when it's time to sell the apartment and get something bigger, I still have a good chance of you know, getting a mortgage. And plus I have Uber and Lyft, not to mention the almighty DoorDash offering me to deliver pizza for $10 for 20 kilometers. And I have my rental startup business, right? So yeah, for now I don't wanna do a long haul. I'd love to drive a bigger truck, like I said, because this is just very light. But I like the place where I work. I don't want to leave.
Stay in the second lane for right.
Okay, so this is McKnight. We're just taking after this intersection there's an entrance.
Go past this light, then use the right lane to keep right to merge onto Highway 2 North.
Yeah, there's an entrance ramp to Highway 2 North Deerfoot Trail. That's what I need to get to my destination. And traffic is getting busier. What's the time now? 11 o'clock. Oh, it's time for a lunch break. I'll probably take a break after I deliver these. There's two yellow cabs in front of me and there's a checker cab here. I don't know how these guys make money if there's so many Uber cars in Calgary. But somehow I see a lot of taxi cabs, you know? It's a very competitive industry. And they all have Toyotas. So the one in the front is Toyota Camry. The one in the behind in front of me is Toyota RAV4. So it's all Toyota. And then I also see they use Toyota Sienna minivans. But honestly, I did not see other brands.
Take exit 268 onto Country Hills Boulevard.
Oh, sometimes I see Corolla and Prius. But that's about it. Long time ago, if you remember, taxis always used the big American vehicles like Ford Crown Victoria or that Chevy, what was it, Chevrolet, like a big four-door car, you know, with a V8. See, here's another one, Toyota Camry. But I read a report online saying that Toyota is no longer the leader in quality. For the first time in, I don't know, 50 years, number one is Subaru. Believe it or not, now at the end of 2024, that's what Consumer Reports claim, that Toyota, because of all these recalls and recent quality problems, they're no longer number one. So maybe soon we'll see the taxi industry switching to Subaru. What do you guys think? Dropping Toyotas and switching to Subaru? I never had a Subaru. Never driven one. Never test drove. but they look okay. I don't know. Well, like I'm back in the south. Just finished my second pickup. I had two pickups. I picked up a scissor lift that I dropped this morning. A guy was already done, and it didn't want to go up because everything is a little bit icy, so I had to turn it around, use my Russian trick as I call it, and in the reverse the machine always works better. So I wasn't able to get it all the way up. Oh, check this out. Southside Truck and Equipment. What do they have here? Brand new Komatsu 360, 490. Holy moly. You have any idea how much that weighs? I'm guessing 100 tons. No, maybe a bit less, but 490. Holy. And I'm driving next to the railroad lines. Yeah, I was definitely here this morning. And so yeah, they couldn't get the machine all the way to the top, but I just moved it so that the rear wheels were like this from the edge of the bed, and then I raised the bed, and then I drove it properly towards the front of the platform. You know, that's one of my childhood dreams that never came to be. I always wanted to be a railroad engineer, you know, to drive these engines or locomotives. Never could do it because of my stupid eyesight, one eye being 90% from birth, which is perfectly legal everywhere except in Russia in the 80s. Right, so I went to apply to the railroad school, and they said, okay, what profession, what occupation are you applying for? I said the porter, проводник, and I was 24 years old, you know, quite handsome, full head of hair, all my teeth, you know, all real knees, you know, real everything was real. And I still remember the lady says, such a handsome boy and you want to clean toilets, why don't you apply for an engineer? And I said, I'm not sure, I think I might have an issue with the medical. Oh, it's okay. And so I did all the medical except the eyesight guy was on lunch break, and so I passed everybody, and then I came back. By this time the eye doctor was in, and right away he cut me down. He says, are you kidding? If something happens, you get into an accident and you kill, like, you know, 200 people with a train, they're gonna come back and they're gonna find that, you know, I let you through. I cannot let you through with a 90% vision in one eye. And I'm pretty sure now all these railroad engineers, they all wear 2 pairs of glasses. I mean, nobody, like, people fly planes with glasses, right? But back then people were nuts, you know. But anyway, that's why I never got to be, but I did work on the railroad, right? Actually, I was inside this locomotive a couple of times when I asked guys for, I remember I was a porter, and we had these, they call them partisani. Basically, it's when reservists, army reservists were called back for training exercises, and the army would hire a train to transport these, as we call them, partisani, guerrillas, and they would always bring vodka, and they would be drunk 24/7, but they would always run out of vodka. Okay, and so a popular side gig for porters was to bring vodka, and then when these guys run out, you make some, you know, geschäft, you make some profit, you know. And so I remember we reached our destination, so all these guerrillas are doing their exercises, trying not to shoot each other, and they parked our train in the middle of nowhere at a small station. And I'm thinking, you know what, I probably should go and get some vodka for the guys, you know. And so I went around the station and I found one train, one freight train that was about to leave. So I talked to the engineer, and I was wearing my railroad uniform, and I had my certificate as a conductor or porter. In Russian it was called provodnik, which is funny. It's the same word as you use, you know, what electricians use, conductor, like conductor of electricity. And so conductor was the Russian word for porter. And so I asked the guy, hey, can you give me a ride to the next big town? And the guy says, yeah, sure, jump in. And so I jumped in. I spent a couple of hours in the back, you know, cabin, you know, like they have two cabs, one in the front, one in the rear, because they can drive both ways, right? And so I was sitting there looking out the window, fighting the temptation to grab the controls. And then we reached my destination. I jumped off, stocked up on vodka, and grabbed another train back. Yeah, because on the railroad, normally guys will give each other, you know, lifts. Like if you're an engineer and you show me your certificate, yeah, and you need a seat on my train, hey, I'll help you out. And the same with these guys. So we were kind of like a big unofficial trade union. And so yeah, so I brought, I don't know, 5-10 bottles of vodka. So those were my first lessons of capitalism. Let's say bought for $10 a bottle, sold for 20. You know, it was it was good business, except at one point these guerrillas, they ran out of money and they started paying me with what do you call them, you know, those ready-to-eat meals that soldiers carry. And actually they were pretty good. It was real meat, tushonka, you know, like pork. And I remember we were negotiating, you know, how many cans of that ready-to-eat stuff for one bottle of vodka. So I think it was either 10 or 20. So when I came home, I had a whole bag of these cans, you know, and I was able to sell them. Sold a couple to my landlady. She was always asking, okay, if you bring something back, show me first. Because I could, you know, I would bring back, like, let's say instant coffee, which was back then was a rarity. Like, especially, you know, like imported instant coffee in a can, like powder, right? Those were the days. Or some fancy tea, or some cans, or some sausage, like smoked sausage was popular. Yeah, so those were the days when you cannot find anything in the store. You have to know somebody in the back that, you know, kind of like under the counter, they'll give you this sausage and cans and whatever, and tea and coffee, and then when you come home, you do some business. That's how it was done during the Soviet Union. Yeah, it was quite, I'm telling you, like, it was quite a life being a porter on a Russian railroad. I've been everywhere, basically inside the Soviet Union. We traveled pretty much everywhere. Far East, Vladivostok, then Chisinau, you know, Ukraine, West, North, South, everywhere. It was an interesting job. Well, they let me off work around 4 o'clock, so I washed my floor mats, thinking I'm gonna go and do some Ubering, but I put $30 worth of gas, and for some reason it jumped up. Like on the weekend it was $1.27 per liter, now it's $1.42 at the same Shell station. And I lined up for a deluxe wash, which is just one step above basic. And so there were like 2 or 3 guys ahead of me, but why I want to film this is because they're very cool colors inside. It's a new car wash that just opened, you know, maybe 3-4 months ago, and they've been working on this one, I don't know, for 2 years. I remember maybe for a year. Ever since I started, you know, working in this area, there were workers here coming, going. There were pickup trucks parked over there. I saw contractors getting out, and but yeah, it's really cool inside. You'll see the lights, so maybe I'll go increase the speed and add some music to it, and stop and shut up and stop talking. Okay, what's my code? 81167. 81167. And it's very slow today, so I think all I'm gonna do is I finally opened the rear seats and I took a look at what kind of mats I have in front of row 3, and sure enough, they're just fabric mats. So the plan is after this to go to Canadian Tire and see if I can get something generic that fits in there. I measured with my like this, so it looks like there's I don't know, just over a foot by foot space, and all you need is a couple of square mats, like small ones. It's just unfortunately I do have a measuring tape, but I left it at work. But I do have there's a big floor mat. It's like single piece, like curvy, you know. But I see that I'm gonna take it with me. I'm gonna try to find something that fits. Okay, in operation, please wait. Please wait. Everywhere you go, you have to wait. That's all our lives are all about, waiting. And now it's not the best time to wash the car, but at least the snow is pretty much gone. The roads are more or less clear. Oh, okay, I think this guy is going, what's number 81167. I think this guy's already going through the dryer. 81167. 81167. Oh, enter code number. Okay. 81167. Enter slowly. All right. Doesn't look too bad. Let's go to the Canadian Tire. Oh, check this out. Another Durango. Twin. Evil twin. And yeah, so I checked both apps and it shows very low activity both on Uber and Lyft. So I don't know. This Friday I have a photo shoot, so I'm gonna make $350, and then I'm not working Saturday. So Saturday I can make probably a couple $100, maybe $250. So for some reason Monday, Wednesday, like Tuesday and Thursday are usually better, you know, the first half of the week. And today I'm gonna install finally the cleaned up filter in my compass. So tomorrow definitely I'm doing Uber, because Thursdays are usually good, but I don't know if I should use this one or compass. This one definitely is less economical, but the XL mode compensate for it, because you make extra money. I think this Durango would be excellent in the summer, you know, when there's lots of tourists here, especially during the stampede, when there's people often travel in groups, and so I can take 6 passengers. You know, all I need is to survive till the summer. Also rentals are much better in the summer, so as soon as my Jeep is fixed in April, I'm gonna list it for rentals as well. So then in the summer I can make a killing renting both vehicles, and I don't care if both are rented at the same time. I'll ride my bike to work, because it's only 7 clicks, you know, like less than 5 miles. So all we need is good weather, good summer weather, and I want for the winter to be gone. But it's still, I remember my late dad was always, you know, he was writing down. He had a journal, and he would keep track of weather and temperature, you know, and he can go back to the previous year to compare his notes. He was very focused on the length of day and sunrise and sunset, you know, and he was always very melancholic or whatever, in bad mood until December 22nd. when days were getting shorter and shorter, right? And then December 22nd, the shortest day of the year, I believe. And then once we go over December 22nd and days start getting longer, he was really, you know, looking forward to the spring. He was in better mood. But he really did not like December and its short days, you know, and early sunsets and late sunrises. Okay, this used to be my area for Uber Eats and DoorDash, because there's a lot of restaurants here. And there's Sobeys. We can do some, I think I did a couple of times, I did shop and pay. You know, when they send you a list of stuff people ordered online and then you just go and shop for them. But I forgot last time I did that. It's just too much work, not enough pay. But it's good in bad weather, you know. Let's say it's super cold outside and taxi, let's say work is slow, then you just do this shop and pay, so you spend time inside a warm supermarket, you know. Yeah, see, it's 5:22, 22 minutes past 5, and it's already looks like midnight. And it's interesting how on this Durango, right, this single touch turn signal only clicks 3 times, and I haven't found an option to make it longer, whereas on Compass, if I touch it, it clicks 5 times, which gives you a bit more time for lane changes. In general, I find that on the Compass, the software, you know, like the dash, is more advanced, surprisingly, than on this Durango. But the interior, I don't know, interior is similar, except this one has red leather and Compass has black leather. And also what I like on this one is the steering wheel. It's kind of like square at the bottom here. It's not round. It has this, you know, where you can put your hands, and it's kind of like cut like this. It's not a circle, you know. So it makes it very comfortable, especially when you turn. But yeah, the dash is really simplistic compared to, believe it or not, Jeep Compass. Because on Jeep Compass I can switch from like I click this. Oh, okay, that's the only thing it gives you. It gives you either analog or digital. But on Compass, the entire thing changes, right? Like, it's all electronic. Here it looks like these are only this part is digital, but these things on the side looks like they're basically baked in. You cannot change them, you know. Anyway, let's go shopping.